Hey everyone, it's Tony George from DocSports.com here on a Tuesday, Week 18 NFL opening line report. I'm going to share my initial thoughts with you and initial takes. These aren't handicap picks, and I had somebody comment on Twitter last week about the lackadaisical approach I take to this video every week and not doing a lot of algorithms and sabermetrics and deep analytics and a deep dive into each one of these games. This is off the cuff, initial reactions as me and you are just sitting around drinking a beer, taking a piss over a fence post, talking about the NFL and what we initially think. This is not a deep dive handicapping look. That's the purpose of doing this, is to have a one-on-one relationship as an average guy who has a little bit different job than 99.9% of you watching this, and trying to relate to you in layman's terms about out of the gate, what do you think? And so if you want the deep dive analytical breakdown on every single game, find another outlet. Okay? It's been doing it this way for 2 years here, and we're going to continue to do it this way. Have a cup of coffee. Hello, Happy New Year. This is a very dangerous week in the NFL. You want to be on underdogs. I've been doing this 30 years, going into 31 years now. This is my 31st year in the business, trying to make it to 35 before I call it quits. So, that being said, I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't say that the Monday Night Football game was shocking, to say the least, in terms of, from a human standpoint. You're really, first of all, better direct your prayers towards Damar Hamlin, who went down in this game with cardiac arrest during the game at age 24. The league made the right decision. The coaches made the right decision by just stepping away from the game, calling it quits. From a human standpoint, nobody can recover from anything that traumatic happening in front of you. It just really puts things in perspective that really, the outcome of a game really is how insignificant that is. And even I do it for a living, but the game, the outcome, your bet, your fantasy team, whatever, completely insignificant when it comes to a life and death situation. And at the end of the day, these are young men that are playing this game. Many of them in their mid to early 20s. Very rarely does a guy make it past 40 years. Not a lot of Brett Favre's and Tom Brady's in the world. The Daryl Lamonicas that play into their 40s. So obviously dramatically impacted on both sides of the ball in that game. And just a very surreal moment where you realize just how insignificant, what I do for a living, what my bet is, what this, that, or my interest in the game, from a human level standpoint. I think we all just had to take a step back and go, wow, hope that kid's okay. That being said, I have not seen any of these opening lines at all. I haven't opened them up. We're going to talk about them, initial gut reactions to what we see. And let's pull these games up. I believe we don't have a Monday night game this week, and we don't have a Thursday night game. And the first game up on the board is on Saturday, a game that I'm going to here in Las Vegas. I do have tickets to the Chiefs and the Raiders. Mrs. George insisted. As a matter of fact, she arranged them. So we went last year to this game, and we went, and we'll go again this year. And it is a 4:30 Eastern Standard Time game. Kansas City currently 8.5 and total 52.5. Just take a look at that. Now it's up to 9 and 53. That doesn't surprise me. When you can go over the total against Denver, allowing Denver 24 points, you're probably going to go over the total against the Raiders. And I surely would not lay, the way Kansas City's playing right now, 9 points with them. And Steedham looked good last week in another Las Vegas last-second loss, one-possession game. They've been doing it all year. They'll probably do it again this week. Kansas City securely in the playoffs. Could be playing for a number one seed. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but depending on what the league does with the Buffalo-Cincinnati game, Kansas City still could be playing for, depending on what shakes out there, home field advantage throughout the playoffs and the overall number one seed. Because I know Buffalo's got a tough game this weekend, so Cincinnati. So could be a lot on line for Kansas City. But they haven't been able to put it together. They're winning games, but they're winning games ugly. And you tell you what, you start winning games ugly, and then you get in the postseason against really good teams, and you're going to struggle. Because there is no forgiveness. There are no Denvers or Seattles or this, that, and the other when it comes to the postseason. Everybody you're playing is good. Tennessee at Jacksonville, the nightcap on Saturday. Currently, Jacksonville 6.5, Tennessee 6.5 point road dog, total 38.5. Jacksonville played all their starters last week when they didn't have to, and they absolutely destroyed Houston. They beat the Jets. They beat the Cowboys. They've already beat the Titans by 36-22 on the road. And they'll probably beat them at home here because Dodd's starting a quarterback for Tennessee. Apparently the Willis experiment didn't work out. I thought he might be a decent NFL quarterback, and apparently he's not going to be. The kid they drafted out of Liberty. On Sunday in the NFL, you have the Bengals as a 6.5 point home favorite. Could be playing for a lot. Baltimore's already in. They're not playing for a lot. Didn't look all that sharp the other night against the Steelers. That's too many points in my opinion. And who knows what Cincinnati's mindset and reaction is going to be after what they witnessed on Monday night on a short week. Tampa Bay +3 at Atlanta. Tampa Bay already in. They're going to play all their starters. Give me Tampa. Total 40.5. Probably go under. New England getting 7.5 at Buffalo. Total 42.5. Without much ado, give me the Patriots. They're still playing for a playoff spot. They need a lot of help. Minnesota. Wow, what a butt kicking they took. Wow. At Chicago. You have to ask yourself a question here, and you know what? There's a lot of teaser options available to you this weekend. You know, you look at Saturday. You're going to want to tease the Raiders up. You're going to want to tease Jacksonville down. I wouldn't trust Tennessee right now any further than I could throw a building. They're just playing terrible, and they have no quarterback. And they can't stretch the field vertically. And Jacksonville is peaking at the right time. This is one of those games where you might want to take the Bears on a teaser because Minnesota, how long are they going to play anybody? They're already in the playoffs. You're going to risk getting Cook hurt. You're going to risk getting Cousins hurt. You're going to risk getting Thielen or Jefferson hurt when you're already in the playoffs. Chicago playing for pride at home in a divisional game against a team they don't like. Colts -2.5 over Houston. Total 38.5. I wouldn't get near that game. The 10-foot pole. Jets +1 at Miami. Oof. Don't know the status of Tua. Jets just blew a playoff season. 7-9 and 8-18. Miami's probably got to have it. I haven't seen the projections for the playoffs there, but you can get Skylar Thompson, third-string quarterback. And of course, the Jets playing with a third string quarterback. I can only look at the under 38.5. Carolina plus 3.5 at New Orleans. Total 41.5. Carolina, tough loss last week. Tampa Bay was your free play video winner. They got it done late. New Orleans upends Philly out of nowhere. I don't know how focused Philly was for that game. Let's take a look at that a minute. Let's take a look at that head-to-head. What was the last game? So Carolina 22, New Orleans 14. That's 36 points. The total was 40.5, and now it sits at 41.5. I'd lean under. Pittsburgh at home, laying 2.5 against the Cleveland Browns. I need Pittsburgh to lose this game because I got a buddy out here in Vegas that's a huge Steelers fan, and I bet him some money that Pittsburgh would not have a 500 record. So I need Pittsburgh to lose this game, and it's just a small $100 bet, but it's between friends, and it's been drug out, and I just hate to give my buddy a $100 bill. I will tell you one thing about the Steelers. They are a better team than Cleveland. Both of them off wins. 38.5 is a total. Kenny Pickett's going to be a superstar. He's their next Ben Roethlisberger. Pickett's going to be their long-term quarterback. He's really good. He's really talented. He's got a super good head on his shoulders. He can read a defense. He can run the ball. He's got a gun for an arm. He's got a good running back. Receiver core they need to improve on there, and the Steelers, also their offensive line. Harris played about as good a game at running back as I've seen him play all year. The other night against Baltimore, they played with purpose. They played with determination. Trying to save Tomlin is never having a losing season. I could only lean Steelers there, but I'd take Cleveland in a teaser. The Giants plus 14 against Philadelphia. I'd take the Giants in a teaser and get them up to plus 20. Big time. Trying to come up with a really good teaser. I'd take Carolina and the Giants in a teaser on Sunday. Carolina up to plus almost 10. Giants up to plus 20. What's Philadelphia? 14? Now. And by the way, the Giants are one of the best cover teams in the NFL. And Philadelphia is one of the worst. They're 4-6 against the spread their last 10. You know, and ATS wise for the Giants, they're 5-1 against the spread on the road. 7-3 their last 10. Dallas minus 4.5 at Washington. Total 41.5. Carson Wentz. I got an idea. We haven't been doing a whole lot with Heineke, so we're going to put Wentz back in. We're going to find lightning in a bottle. 3 picks. Give me Dallas. I don't care what's they're already in, but The Chargers at Denver. Chargers in the playoffs already. Denver gave Kansas City a ball game. Red zone turnover there. Killed Kansas City in the first half. I had them in the first half. -7, and they allowed them to go 80 yards down the field. That's at Denver. Total's 40. Let's take a look at that first game around. Wasn't that an overtime game as I recall? Yeah, it was. Chargers 19-16 in overtime. Total was 45.5. Now the total's 40 and a half. 5 points. Is that a big enough adjustment? 3.5 points. Denver was an underdog. Now they're a 3-point dog. That number's right. If anything, I might lean under, especially depending on the weather. The Rams plus 6.5 at Seattle. What a disappointment the Rams have been. Seattle off a good win against the Jets. They're minus 6.5. I'd put them in a teaser and tease them down 1.5 or tease the Rams up to 12.5. You can do either side on that for a tease. Arizona plus 14 at San Francisco. Wow. Going to do just enough to win. Put Arizona in a teaser. Get in a plus 20. Kingsbury's last job as coach, I'll guarantee you. I'd be shocked if they didn't fire Cliff Kingsbury. You might see Sean Payton land there. You might. There's enough talent there offensively. Hopkins, Connor's good running back. Murray under the right leadership. Or get a different quarterback in there. Don't know. And the nightcap on Sunday. Oh, here's a good game. Green Bay minus 4.5 against Detroit. Give me Green Bay. They're red hot. Those are my initial raw and candid takes. Week 18 of the NFL. Tread lightly. 31 years of experience doing this in the final week of the NFL season. Expect the unexpected. Expect teams that absolutely, positively have to win to struggle in these games. Just how it works out. Guys are still playing for their jobs. I don't see a lot of teams that have really thrown it in. If you take a look at Houston, they play hard. Even though they're no good. They're poorly coached. You know? You see teams like the Giants that just battle you the entire game because they're well coached by Dabo. Getting 14 points against a team that's wrapped up a number 1 seed. I mean, you know, divisional game. You know, you got to be careful laying big points this weekend. That's the best free tip you're going to get on the internet all week. Doc Sports, free $60. Link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. I did not have a good week in the NFL this week. Going to be very low volume. And then we're going to finish strong in the postseason. Plays will be up on Thursday, along with the national title game, which I will have a pick in college football between TCU and Georgia. Have a great week.